Mr. Secretary, team spirit is winding down. It's a readiness exercise. You're in country here to talk with ROK military political leaders. How do you see the military situation?
Well, I think the exercise went extremely well and demonstrated that we are ready, and there's a very high state of readiness. I saw one 2 years ago here, and I didn't get to see this, but the reports I had on it were that it went extremely well. The problem that we have to worry about is that the military balance is shifting in favor of the North Koreans. They have more troops, more tanks, more artillery, more planes, and they're getting supplied by the Soviets all the time. So that is a worrisome situation. They've also redeployed much closer to the DMZ. But I think that we're in strong defensive positions, and because we have a defensive strategy, the South Koreans are not going to attack North Korea. Why we have to recognize that that puts us at some disadvantage. We would yield surprise and place of attack to the enemy. So what we have to do, I think, is just increase that state of readiness all the time. And one of the things I wanted to do here was to make sure that everybody in the Korean government knew that we are here to stay, and we're here to help just in any way they think is appropriate. And I think that's a very good deterrent, too. Their own forces are very strong, very well equipped, and I think we're in good defensive positions.
Mr. Secretary, you said that you were talking with Korean leaders saying that we're here to stay. Down the road, the ROK defense minister recently said that by 1988 he's looking at ROK, North Korean parity on the military side. With the pressures that you're feeling, that DOD is feeling as far as Graham Rudman's going, you know, how do you see the U.S. military fitting in?
It's entirely up to the Korean government. We're here to help them at their invitation. If they feel that at any time they would be strong enough or they've achieved parity with North Korea, I'm sure they would tell us. We do what they want us to. That's the difference between our being here and the Warsaw Pact nations or the Soviets of North Korea. When we're asked to go, we go. When we're asked to stay by allies to help the cause of freedom, we stay. But I think South Korea is very strong, and I think the Olympic Games will prove to the world what a remarkable country it really is.
Graham Rudman is starting to take its effects in Korea. How hard is it going to hit us in Korea?
Well, I think it's going to hit the military all over the world, much harder than we should be hit. There's going to be a tremendous demand to help reduce the deficit. That seems to be the only priority that most people in Congress have any interest in. I think it's a mistake myself, because I think a strong security position is the most important thing any country can have. There's no reason for Graham Rudman to hurt anybody, because if the Congress would adopt the budget the President sent in, we wouldn't have to make any reductions in military to keep the deficit reduction targets of that bill. But if Congress refuses to cut domestic spending, as they do, and sometimes add to it, then that trigger will be pulled, so-called, and then we'll have to make reductions up to 4, 5, 6% on top of everything else. And that'll be across the board. We won't have any priorities. We won't have any choice, any opportunity to say this is more important than that. And it will hurt personnel, too, because we'll have to have personnel cuts. And we can't afford them. It's a very bad thing.
How do you see that affecting military readiness?
Well, it's going to interfere with readiness. It's going to interfere with readiness. It's going to interfere with sustainability. It's going to weaken our ability to maintain all of the equipment that we have. It's going to interfere with the research and development. When you have an across-the-board cut, you can't select priorities, and it's probably the worst way to deal with the nation's military and with the nation's security. But again, I emphasize it doesn't have to happen. If Congress would just adopt the budget the President sent in, we could have an adequate amount for the military, and we could reduce the budget deficit, and we needn't have taxes. But for some odd reason, Congress seems to want to increase taxes and cut the defense.
You've gotten a lot of attention about DOD's anti-smoking campaign, education campaign. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's another part of readiness. We were talking about readiness at the beginning. There were a lot of pressures earlier in the year for me to ban all sales of all tobacco from all commissaries and all PXs. We felt, after looking at it very carefully, that tobacco is hazardous to the health, but it ought to be the individual soldier's own choice as to whether he buys or not. If you start cutting out various things from the PXs and the commissaries, you're taking away one of the most valuable privileges of the military, but you're also trying to make a lot of moral judgments. There's nothing illegal about smoking cigarettes. It's very bad for your health, but there's nothing illegal about it. So what we're trying to do is say we aren't going to take it out of the PX any more than we're going to take coffee out, because a lot of people say coffee's bad for you. What we are going to do, however, is mount a major campaign to try to show everybody the effects of smoking and the effects of bad health on their ability to serve in the military. And that'll be a voluntary thing, but everybody is going to have an opportunity to find out all that science and medicine knows about tobacco use. And it is bad, there's no question about it. It hurts your health. But we want those choices to be made freely by the individual soldier.
Back to Korea for a second, Mr. Secretary. You were up at Camp Reeves yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, if you had the chance to talk to the soldier, the sailor, the airman, the Marine, one-on-one, what would you say to them?
Well, I'd say pretty much what I said up there yesterday, which is that the President asked me specifically to convey to the soldiers I was going to meet, and I wouldn't feel the same way, so I'd be glad to do it to all of the military personnel within this telecast range, how much the American people appreciates what you're doing. We know it's very difficult and dangerous work, and it has to be performed far from home, and frequently means separation from your families, and there are just a lot of things that make it much more difficult than an ordinary civilian job. And that's why we're so very grateful to you, because it's being done extraordinarily well now. The morale is higher than I think ever before. We have all reports agreed that the equipment is better, there's more of it, the training is better, and this is reflected in the results of the volunteer force. They're coming in. We have people lined up waiting lists to get into each service. Retention is better. So these are all things for which we're enormously grateful, and for which the people of the United States are very grateful. And when you read about a lot of committee hearings and committee actions and reductions of military investment and things of that kind, don't make any mistake. That doesn't mean that the American people are unhappy with what you're doing. They're not. They're very happy with it and very grateful for it.
Mr. Weinberger, this is the year of Army values, and a year where we're having people selling out to the Russians for bucks. You know, how important do you think that theme is for the Army and for this command?
Well, I suppose there's been espionage ever since the days of the Bible. We go all the way back. There are always going to be traitors. There are always going to be people who think money's more important than anything else. Fortunately, there's a small number. They can do terrible damage, and that's why it's very important for us to be on the alert for anything that we believe is happening along this line. There are always going to be traitors. There are always going to be spies who will sell out their country, and that is a sad fact. Very small number. They can do a lot of damage. Let's do our best, each one of us, to make sure that doesn't happen.
One last question, Secretary. You got to go around the Olympic complex in Seoul last year, or in your visit here so far. How do you see the Republic of Korea developing and you know, hosting the Asian Games and the Olympics? How do you see that affecting the route?
Well, I think it's a clear demonstration to the world that this is a remarkable country. That's a most amazing complex. I've had the good fortune to go to Olympic Games 2 or 3 times over the years, and I've never seen anything resembling that kind of an elaborate complex, or a different number of stadia, or places to have all of the separate events all together. You're going to build a complete Olympic village for all the athletes of the Asian Games, and then another one in 2 years for the 1988 Games. So it's an amazing feat, and I think when the world comes, they'll recognize that. I think there'll be a lot of attempts to disrupt it, because the North Koreans can't do anything except have a strong military. Their economy is a total shambles, and it will hurt them very much to see these games succeed. They're going to make efforts to block it, and we have to be alert to that. But when the world sees what South Korea can do with these games, then I think they'll realize what a remarkable country it is.
That's it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, fine, thanks.